Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk for Sunday, the 28th of February, weekend edition. Starting off with a stock that I own, All Active Asset Capital, where we've had a decent end to the week, but not quite enough to break that February resistance line at 35 pence. So an end-of-day close above that really required to trigger a fresh leg to the upside. Just how high that could be is suggested by the December resistance line projection, the top of the channel there pointing towards 65 pence. That could be seen as soon as the end of April, and the upside valid at least while we're above the 30 pence zone. We had a 29 pence floor over the last week, and early really back below the 20-day moving average, currently at 27 pence, really delaying the upside scenario. Moving along to a stock which has given its fans a bit of a rough ride, I would suggest, over the recent past. Here we've got Conroy Gold coming up, and the situation here is that we had a midweek probe through the 200-day moving average. We can get that. That gave us a low of 23 pence. Good move on Friday against a falling market with the rebound back above that 27 pence level. The view at this stage is that while we're above 27 on an end-of-day close basis, we can look for a recovery of sorts. The obvious area would be early February resistance towards 39 pence, but if you believe in that broadening triangle formation, which looks quite convincing, has to be said, given the double bounce off it in the last week, then the ultimate target here over the next 1 to 2 months could be as high as 55 pence, especially as we've most likely flushed out all the weak hands, and especially because the 200-day moving average is still rising and rising quite strongly, so that tends to provide decent momentum. Stock which has also got quite good momentum at the moment is Dev Clever. Here we're in a rising trend channel which has been in place since the beginning of November. Floor of the channel currently running at 25 pence, and that's also the area of the 20-day moving average. So above that particular combo, we're looking for the 50 pence zone as soon as the end of April at the December channel. If you're waiting for a buy trigger, then the obvious one is an end-of-day close above 30 pence, given the way that that was the top for the shares intraday on 3 occasions in February. Moving along to a stock which has been frustrating on many fronts, particularly the fundamental and the technical, obviously. But looking at the daily chart, it's more a sideways action that we've had. And the plus point, I suppose, is the way that we've got that March uptrend line from last year running through 0.7 pence. And we've really been quite friendly towards that particular line. While we're above that, and I suppose allowing down to 0.6, then the upside scenario is very much still in force. And the top of the channel there, promising a target as high as 1.4 pence. If you're looking for the momentum trigger, that would currently be an end of day or a weekly close, preferably above 0.85 pence. So that would be, on this occasion, hopefully the thing that, or the event that would get the shares back on the move. The other thing to maybe wait for would be a break of the neutral 50 level in the RSI window, although given how choppy the shares have been, that's not quite as good a signal as it would normally be. So basically waiting for 0.85 to break at the moment, and looking for the shares to hold above 0.6 pence. Rather easier situation at the moment is Greatland Gold. It's been an easy situation for much of the past year and a half. Current situation here is that we're looking at a near-term bounce above the 200-day moving average. We had a couple of bounces off the 200-day line over the course of February. It's a rising feature, which does suggest that the momentum is back with the bulls, and also we had a key reversal to the upside, a strong one, on Friday. Key reversals off the lows or near-term lows tend to be quite reliable signals in stocks and markets. I think we had one of those in July last year, which obviously was the start of a decent move from that particular area. Therefore, above the 200-day moving average at 20 pence, we're looking for at least a retest of the February peak at around 29 pence initially. Big target here over the next 1 to 2 months up to 45 pence, which is the top of the August 2020 channel. Moving on to a less high-profile situation, but one that may deliver the goods. Intercede Group, again, a stock which had a good day on Friday, which was not a good day for the market, and breaking their at least three or four resistance points there. The November peak there at 96 pence, let's call it, and above 96 pence, we're really looking for a top of a rising trend channel from this time last year, as high as £1.40 over the next 1 to 2 months. In fact, at this point, only really back below the initial February resistance at 87 pence, really delaying or cancelling rather the upside scenario. Ideally, we shouldn't hold back below the 95 pence zone. Onto a stock which I covered quite a lot last year, or at least in the latter part of last year, but looks like it's back in business again. Panthera Resources, rebounded rather like the one we just seen in Greatland Gold. So after a retracement, quite a sharp snapback. The positive here, though, is that we've bounced well above the 200-day moving average, rising at 11.85. So that is a strong signal. And while we're above the February floor at 16 pence, looking towards at least a retest of initial February resistance at 27 pence. But the big prize here, as high as 50 pence over the next 1 to 2 months. And that is an October resistance line projection. So let's see whether we get anywhere near there by the end of April. On to Pires, which has been quite a frequent flyer here. Looking good on Friday in particular. The reason for including it today is that we had a decent rebound off the 20-day moving average, and also a key reversal to the upside. That does suggest that there will be a reasonable move now. Target here remains up towards 25 pence plus, and time frame on that by the end of April. This stage only really well below, well, I suppose really below the 50-day moving average, as a trading stop at 11 pence currently would really delay the upside scenario. Stock which looks to be well primed still is Pineapple. I like the setup here. Probably just still want to see an end of day close through 10 pence and that January resistance line. But if we can get through that on this occasion, we've got a potential target here at the top of the broadening triangle from the start of play, let's say here, at as high as 35 pence. And that might be seen, I suppose, not April, but going into May, maybe a 3-month target there for the shares. And the other plus point here, I suppose, is that the risk reward would be an end of day close back below 7 pence. So you're risking 2 or 3p to try and make something like 20 or 25 pence on Pineapple Power. Onto a stock which I know has its fans, Synairgen, and here we had a good end to the week again. Crucial that we had a good end of week move on a bad Friday. Key reversal to the upside, i.e. breaking Thursday's low and closing above the high. It's a strong one there. And also a bear trap, 4-day bear trap below the 50-day moving average at £1.63. So while there's no intraday close back below £1.63, still looking towards the top of that rising trend channel from November, as high as £2.30. That could be seen by the end of April. Requested stock, one which has been dithering for months, really being quite frustrating, almost in the same kind of league as Duke Mount. But here we've got TomCo. It's got put in a higher February low to 0.42 versus the sub 0.4 pence low of December, which I think is 1 plus point. Probably want to see a decent weekly close back above the 0.5 pence level, ideally really above the February intraday resistance at 0.52. So let's say 0.52 plus could be enough to get the shares finally moving. And initial target there, the 200-day line at 0.6. Best case scenario target once we get going, we haven't really got going yet, up to 0.95 as a 2 to 3 month target for TomCo. But we need to see a little bit more activity in the 0.5s for that stock. Another stock, and the final the final main stock here today, Verditek. Here we had a higher low put in for the latter part of February. Just gives us the hope that finally we're going to snap the post-August breakdown for the shares. Remember that 4 pence was previously resistance on the way up. That's become new support. So that would be enough for aggressive traders to make moves already. Need to break, I suppose, 5.5 pence and that resistance line there for December on an end of day or a weekly close basis to open up the possibility of an 11 pence target at the top of the broadening triangle from September. Just wanted to finish off with the stock of the week, which was cellular goods on the 5-minute time frame. Interesting that today, or just after I'm speaking, we've got a Reddit Q&A, which I think actually, despite all the mainstream media commentary, may be the trigger for a decent week for the shares. Looking at actually the first day of trading, we had the initial 18 pence floor, late afternoon floor there at 17.5 pence. But the real buy trigger here would be a break of that resistance line from the early part of the day. That was running around the 20 pence level, and that's also the 50 period moving average as well. So 20 pence and a quick break of 20 pence for tomorrow's session could be the trigger that gets cellular goods back on track for a retest of 28 pence, 29 pence, the initial peak, and then the possible target there at the top of the broadening triangle up to 35 or 36 pence, but waiting for 20 pence to break first, and the upside argument about it while we hold above the 16 to 17 pence level, which is the floor of that triangle. Obviously early days on the technicals, but they can actually work, and they've been working quite well on other IPOs as they emerge. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.